Hey, what's going on, everyone? This is Zen here, and we are back with another episode of Powers Discussed, where we discuss the powers of the awesome, the great, and also the weird. So today we're doing it on an anime character or a manga-based character named Ichigo, Kurosaki Ichigo, and he's from the Bleach series. And I love Bleach. I can't wait till it comes back. At the time of this recording, in terms of the anime coming back, and hopefully we just get some awesomeness when it comes to like future manga, right? If it does happen, right? So he has a lot of powers, right? So I'm gonna try to, if I need to do a part two on this video, I'll do it. So I'm gonna try to condense it into the simplified um, characteristics of the ability, right? So Ichigo, he's a Soul Reaper, right? Or um, in the anime or in the manga, he's a substitute Soul Reaper, right? And so what that means is he's a death god, right? A death god in the sense that he um, will send souls back to. Uh, for lack of better words, a heaven, right? I'm using some of these bland terms because some of you may not have watched Bleach before, right? um, or to soul society, right? So soul society is where souls will rest, right? Um, in the societal area. Now, in terms of his abilities, he has, um, when he's in his Soul Reaper form, he has super speed, right? For lack of better words, he has augmented or higher levels of strength, and he has something called Ryatsu, meaning that he's able to output, but also output a spiritual energy, right? Or spiritual pressure. And that allows him to do a myriad of different abilities. Now, all Soul Reapers have something called a Zanpakuto, right? Zanpakuto. Um, and with their Zanpakutos, they are swords, right? For the most part, they're usually defined as swords. Now, each of the swords has a different variation of a release, right? Depending on the person and how long they've trained and their ability to get in tune with their swords. Now, when I say get in tune with their swords, each Soul Reaper's sword is literally a essence of themselves, right? So they are sentient in some type of way. So they go through the process of a Shinkai, which is an initial release, and also a Bankai. Now, for Ichigo, he can, in his current state, I'm going by the last arc, he can release his sword, right? Or go into a Shinkai, which allows him to just have advanced versions of what I said: speed, power, uh, and power output, right? And input. And what I mean by that is his ability to charge up and to release, right? For lack of better words. Now, in Soul Society, everything is pretty much made up of spiritual energy, right? So his ability to utilize the Ryatsu around him comes into a lot of different forms. Now, he has a technique that he's most noted for, and this is called the Getsuga Tensha. And it is a crescent moon based slice. And it usually when he uses it, it comes in a blue form, which is like the spiritual pressure. But often we will see him use it in, it'll come down in a downward slash, which is black energy, right? Now, you might say the black energy is just really higher powers, higher level of abilities, but it's also spliced with another type of power, which is hollow, a hollow power. Now, in the Bleach series, all of the I would say the captains, right, and everyone who's in Soul Society, the good guys, for lack of better words, go against hollows, right, or go against. There's an arc where they go against hollows, right? There's more to that, right? So hollows are basically souls that have not um, been um, cleansed, right? And for lack of better words, again, they're the ones that have done some kind of deviance when they were alive, right? And hollows have literally a hollow in the middle of their chest, right? And some it does diverge a little bit. Now, Ichigo has the ability to tap into this hollow power, right? And when he's able to do that, he's able to transform. And his transformation comes in the form of his hollowification. Now, when he goes into a hollowification form, he puts on a mask. Now, the mask allows him to tap into those hollow based abilities, right? And his move that I just mentioned, the Getsuga Tensha, he's able to have a variant version of it, right? Which is a little bit more denser and has a different sound, you know. And it's pretty cool, right? So I know there's more to it, right? And it gets a little bit complicated. I think Ichigo is one of the most complicated anime characters that I've ever come across because he has a myriad of different abilities because his lineage taps into hollows and also um, Soul Reaper, but also the last part that I'm going to get into right now is his his Quincy lineage. Now, Quincy's, if I was to put it in the most simplest terms, they're like knights, right? Knights with bows and arrows, but spiritual bows and arrows. So anytime you see uh, a Quincy, they're letting loose a spiritual bow and arrow, right? Which is quite capable, but that's not all of their abilities, though. They have a myriad of different abilities. Now, again, Ichigo can tap into this. Now, there's one thing that didn't mention this whole entire time, and I could get into all of those variations of those abilities, is that besides him having his initial reach, release, not reach, for his Zanbakuto, which is the Shinkai, he also has something called a Bankai. Now, all Soul Reapers um, have different divisions, right? They're part of different divisions, and all of the different divisions have a captain that leads them. And for the most part, all captains are really powerful in the sense of they've trained for a really long time, thousands of years. And for the most part, not for the most part, all of them, right, that we found out are able to use a Bankai, which is a final release. Now, when a Shinigami or a Soul Reaper is able to use a Bankai, it means that they're totally in tune with their Zanbakutos, right? Or they've come to a point where the Zanbakuto understands the user and the user understands the Zanbakuto. And they're able to form a communication that allows them to release on a secondary scale. Now, each and everyone's Zanbakuto final release or Bankai has a different form, right? And the form is basically a variation of the user's abilities, the Sanbakto itself on its Shinkai release, and it's very formidable. Now, for Ichigo himself, when he does this, initially when he did this, it gives him like a variation of what he already can do, but on a higher level, right? In the final arc that we've seen in Bleach, it does the same thing, basically, right? He utilizes actually two swords in his final release in the final arc, but again, it allows him to do the Getsuga Tenshao to like the highest level and form. Now, there's one more thing. And I'm kind of jumping because I'm not too sure how powerful this form really was in comparison to the last arc's version of his Bankai. And this comes in the form of his final Getsuga Tensha, where he literally um becomes that technique, right? Um he becomes the final Getsuga Tensha, right? And in this form he has long dark hair, and again, his powers are augmented in a way where he has a ton of invulnerability, also regeneration based abilities, and his Shunpo, right, which is a really fast movement based ability, it, is far exceeds what you can describe, right? So imagine you blink and someone is already in front of you, right? That's how fast it is, but it's actually 10 times faster than that, right? Now, that's not it. That's not it. Now, remember when I spoke about his holification? and his ability to tap into hollow based abilities, he does have a he does have a form where he transforms into a Vastalord. And when he's in this form, this is actually my favorite form out of all of his forms. In his Vastalord form, again, he just has variations of his abilities, but he can tap into hollow based abilities, right? For example, Acero. Acero is basically a condensed spiritual energy um, that has a combination of hollow energy, right? Or un unsoothed souls, right? For lack of better words. And it allows him to shoot this really condensed blast. For the most part, all Ceros are usually red, with the exception of a couple of characters in Bleach who have learned to um, manipulate their Ceros or advance them in a very particular way. Now, is there more techniques that he has? Yes. But if we were to just base it, if I was just to remove everything that I just said, he has the ability to tap into spirit energy. He has super speed, invulnerability, um, advanced forms of strength, right? He is an expert swordsman, and he has the ability to learn things really fast. Now, Ichigo is a teenager when he's first introduced into the show, but he's able to compare to some of the captains who've been training for thousands of years, right? So his advancements in terms of techniques um, are a byproduct of the various lineages that he has, right? For, again, the Soul Reaper, his dad is a Soul Reaper, and then it deviates from there in terms of like what power he was imbued with as a baby or as just beforehand, right? Which goes into the Soul Reaper, the hollow energy, and also the Quincy based energy, right? So it's quite a bit. He's it seemed it wasn't as confusing in the beginning of the show, but it became a lot more confusing. But I'm still digging it though, right? Ichigo is a phenomenal character, and Bleach is a phenomenal show and manga. So if you want to jump right into it, I would definitely say jump into the manga, see if you like it. And you'll one of the coolest things about Bleach is that you'll find one of your favorite characters, right? And you'll look out for that character to become more powerful over time or for them to gain new abilities. Because Ichigo is the main protagonist, but there's other characters that are really really cool, right? There's someone for everyone in that show, and I would love to do the powers and Shinkais and Bankais for other characters, right? Um, but let me know in the comment section if you want to see more on Bleach characters or any other anime or comic book characters or just cartoon based characters. Let me know. This is Zen with another episode of Powers Discussed. And remember, you have the power to shape the reality around you, and you definitely have the power to help people. So go out there and do that. Later, everyone. Kurosaki Ichigo.